This is the vlog for August 25th. And what a sort of odd night. So by circumstance, I ended up in the house alone tonight. Um, Nobody's around, so I've just been playing a lot of World of Warcraft because why not? Trying to get caught up, but I didn't really get caught up so much as I'll get into that. The reason I feel so anxious, eerie, made to feel eerie or nervous, is that the park near where I live is having some sort of event tonight with music being played. Occasionally, they'll put up a screen and show movies in the summer, and I think maybe that's what's going on. There's still a little bit of smoke in the air, so I wouldn't have wanted to be out in that personally. It's been cloudy all day and rained a little bit this morning. So it's possible that there's people camping out in the park tonight. I hope they're having fun, but I'm just as happy to stay inside. World of Warcraft. This is the second time I've had a full sort of day to just mess around with it. And originally, my goal was to just sort of sail into as far into my hunter's maximum level as I could. I didn't think I was going to make it to max level, given that I've got to do the D&D game tomorrow, but I wanted to get pretty far. But instead, I used up my rest bar and thought to myself, well, why don't I use some other characters who have got rest built up? And then somebody pointed out that there are still Legion invasions that hit the Broken Isles area, which was the expansion area from the last expansion. And those are a very good source of experience points. So I took 3 different characters to the High Mountain Zone and fought off demonic invaders. And each one of them got nearly a full level's worth of experience out of it, and it probably only took half an hour to 20 minutes for each one, except for one was a little more complicated because I had to take him all the way there. He hadn't gotten any flying points, so there was nothing to be done but just ride a steampunk motorcycle up, get some flight points, and then do the invasions. So I made 3 levels worth of progress, but across 3 other characters. And then I played my Demon Hunter and got my Demon Hunter up a level. So altogether, I've probably, and considering the Hunter also had a level and a half, I think, by the end of all this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So yeah, I did about 5.5 levels worth of progress today, just not on one character. World of Warcraft, being a game that has been out for 14 years now, will be 14 years this fall, November, I think, sort of suffers from a weird problem that not a lot of other games are going to have, which is there's a lot of information. Like, the game itself is huge. It is hard to it's worth noting that its individual zones may feel sort of smallish and cramped, and in fact you're meant to be able to run from one side of a zone to another in between 5 to 10 minutes most of the time, and you can usually cross an entire continent in 45 minutes or less, which is obviously not very realistic. A continent shouldn't take 45 minutes to cross. It should take days or even a week to cross in its thinner area. You know, if I was going from the East Coast to the West Coast of the United States, it would take me a week. If I was going from the bottom of Mexico to the top of Canada, it would take considerably longer, and I'd be crossing 3 countries to do it. Um, so the game seems like it feels small-ish, but in only in small parts. Taken as an aggregate whole, it represents one of the largest game worlds in existence. Um, and it's full of stuff. It is full of activities that you can partake in. Granted, most of them involve combat, but there are 12 or 13 different classes. I want to say there were 10 classes at launch, and 3 have been added through. Yeah, so about 13 classes, 13 ways to play, and each one of those has at least, well, most of the time it has 3. One class has 2, and one class has 4. So 13 times 3 is 39. 39 different specializations that all play very differently. So it can be overwhelming at times, especially when a lot of these activities tend to take a lot of time to accomplish. They sort of spoiled a group of us, the people who were playing the game right before the last expansion, Legion, came out. There were a bunch of demonic invasions that were taking place all over the game world, and participating in those gave you significant amounts of experience. I took one character from level 1 to 100 in a week of doing this. And that was sort of interspersed with a couple other characters doing the same thing. I didn't get them as high, but they didn't have as far to climb either. So that was really fast, but in the last 2 years, they've sort of turned around on their feelings on how fast they want people to level. They don't want people to level super fast because for starters, the faster you level up, the faster you get to a point where you don't want to play the game as much anymore. Secondly, they sell a service that levels your character up to nearly, not max level, but about 10 levels from max level. They sell that service for $60 a piece for every character you want to do that to. And third, it was a little too fast. I mean, the Legion invasion thing was an outlier, but even the basic experience using the heirloom gear that aids in the leveling process meant that you were blazing through zones in a couple of, half an hour to an hour and then moving on. And they didn't like that because they'd put so much work into it. They wanted people to sort of explore the entire quest line in a zone before moving on. So they changed the system up a little bit, and now everything scales with you, so you can stay in a zone past where it was originally intended to end, level-wise, so that you can get the entire story of that zone without, earning less experience if you'd gone to another zone with a higher bracket. It's ingenious, but it does mean that a lot of things I was used to have changed, and that's just going back into this is a massive world with lots to do, and it can be very daunting and very overwhelming. And I understand how Blizzard must struggle yearly with trying to attract new customers with this business model and having pretty good success. They're still the most successful MMO ever, first of all, and right now they remain the most successful massively multiplayer online role-playing game on the market. But the amount of new players that they get and the amount of returning players that they keep continues to fluctuate and generally decline year after year. And someday, somehow, they're going to have to look at what they've done and say, we did a great job. We need to do something really new, not just a new expansion. They need to put out some sort of World of Warcraft 2 or World of something else. Just a game that doesn't play the way this one does and can be expanded upon in ways that the original game was never designed to do. Um, I love Skyrim. It's one of my favorite games of all time. It is going to be 7 years old this November, and it's definitely showing its age. And World of Warcraft is twice as old as that game. To say that World of Warcraft is showing its age is a massive understatement. And I love it, but Blizzard needs to do something new. We'll see what that is. Maybe they'll announce it at BlizzCon this year, but I doubt it. Anyway, I'm Eric Spornitz, and tomorrow will be better.